Today I moved the best player on every defense to their highest overall offensive position. I know you guys remember when JJ Watt was playing tight end on offense, out there catching touchdown passes. So it got me thinking, what would his brother do on offense? Well, that's what we're gonna find out today. Now, the biggest rule is that they must start at their new position, even if it's quarterback. First up, we have the Minnesota Vikings. Harrison the Hitman was their highest overall player on defense, and now he's gonna be their starting fullback at a 57 overall. L'Jarius Sneed, the Titans' #1 CB, is now their #1 RB at a 74 overall. 5 overalls higher than Hassan Haskins. Danielle Hunter, highest overall defensive player for Houston, is gonna stay in the trenches, but now he's on the offensive side of the ball at center. He's a 44. And if O-lineman is their new position, they're gonna replace the previous lowest overall offensive lineman. So you can see on the Texans, it was easily their center. So that's where Hunter is going to be starting. The aforementioned TJ Watt was the highest overall on the Steelers. He's going to play the same position that his other brother played. Derek was also a fullback. Now TJ's a 57 overall. Reek Woolen, the Seahawks' highest overall defensive player. And with that 98 speed, 96 excel, I was hoping he would be a wide receiver, but they already have plenty of good ones. So he's going to go to running back, where he was his highest overall on offense at a 63. In case you're curious, at wide receiver, he was only a 55. MLB on the Saints, Demario Davis was their highest overall, and now he's gonna be blocking for Alvin Kamara, new fullback, at a 51. Literally the same exact situation in Baltimore. Roquan, former MLB, new fullback. He's gonna move Patrick Ricard to second on the depth chart. I think this is the highest overall we've seen so far on offense. Tre'Davious, previous CB, now he's a running back, 75 overall with X Factor. So he's gonna develop pretty fast and probably be in the 80s very soon. This one was close, man. Max Crosby, former left end for the Raiders, was close to being on the offensive line, but fullback was a little higher. O-line was 46. But a team that will alter their offensive line is the Patriots. Matthew Judon, former linebacker, was his highest overall on the O-line. Now he's gonna start at left tackle. We know Derek Brown can wreak havoc around the line of scrimmage. Now he's gonna do it at the fullback position. 61 overall. Pretty solid. On to the Packers. I was hoping this would be our first wide receiver, Jair Alexander, former CB. But no, his highest overall was running back, man. It's not easy running routes. The Detroit Lions' highest overall is Aiden Hutchinson. Now he's going to be lead blocking for Montgomery and Gibbs at fullback. He's a 62. Former cornerback on the Jets, Sauce Gardner. You already know where he's going. Running back. He's a 70 overall elusive back. Both Josh Allens are now going to be playing offense. This one goes from linebacker to fullback, where he's a 65. The G-men are going to lose a stud on their D-line. Dexter Lawrence is now at center, blocking his former position at a 50 overall. Nick Bosa, best player on the Niners defense, is now going to slide in at a right tackle, blocking for Purdy at a 47 overall. Fullback was 1 overall less. I was ready for this one, man. Darius Big Play Slade, 78 at running back with X Factor Dev. He might be in the high 80s by the end of the sim. Same thing with the Dolphins. Their former cornerback, Jalen Ramsey, is now 74 overall running back with X Factor Dev. The Dallas Cowboys take a hit on the D-line with Micah Parsons leaving, but the athletic specimen is a 70 overall fullback with X Factor Dev. However, the Commanders' best player was in the trenches. Jonathan Allen, former D tackle, is now the starting left guard at a 44 overall. Now we had a tie on the coast between Kenny Moore and DeForest Buckner, so he had to spin the wheel, and it decided to make Buckner go to offense. So now he's the starting right guard in Indy. Similar situation to the Chiefs. Chris Jones, of course, their highest overall. Now he's the starting right tackle, blocking for Mahomes. 6'2", 215-pounder Derwin James, former safety, now starting running back for the Los Angeles Chargers. Exact same situation in Arizona. Buda Baker, former strong safety, now starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals. Antoine Winfield, usually playing great coverage at safety, is now going to be running the ball for the Buccaneers. He's a 74 overall. You would think Myles Garrett would stay in the trenches, but no. The former right end is going to move to fullback, where he's a 53 overall. Patrick Surtain, highest overall on the Broncos. He goes from cornerback to running back, where he's a 67. Highest overall was Matt Milano on the Bills defense. Goes from linebacker to fullback, where he's a 55. Trey Hendrickson, highest overall on the Bengals. The former right end is going to move over to fullback as well, where he's a 46. And then finally, Kevin Byard used to be a free safety for the Bears. Now he's the starting running back for Chicago's offense at a 65. So we ended up with no wide receivers, no quarterbacks, and no tight ends. Except even if they're fullbacks, I made sure that a starting third down running back and power halfback. And of course, running backs are going to be the same. So yeah, teams like the Chiefs will keep their same backfield, but their O-line changes a lot. So every team changed something significant on their offense. Bills go 15-2 with Milano getting a lot of touches starting at fullback. Chiefs go 12-5 with Chris Jones in the O-line. Titans 11-6. Same with the Bengals. Texans tied. They still end up 10-6-1. Ravens 10-7. And then the Jaguars 9-8. Okay, it was the Jets who ended up tying with Houston. Dolphins and Chargers don't make it. Raiders with Crosby on offense. Neither did the Steelers with Watt on offense. Browns go 4-13 with Garrett at fullback and getting a lot of touches. Cowboys go 13-4 with Parsons on offense. He's an athletic beast. That was to be expected. Niners 12-5. Bucks 12-5. Same with the Vikings. Falcons 11-6. Then the last two spots were the Commanders and Cardinals, who finished under 500. Eagles with Slay on offense didn't do so hot. 7-10. Look at all the 7-10s. Last place in the NFC was the Saints with DeMario on offense. Playoff bracket looks a little bit different than normal. Titans make it. You have teams like the Cardinals, the Vikings. I mean, teams you don't see make it in these sims that often. So I'm happy about that. Harrison Smith, 54 for 134 and 8 touchdowns. Wait a minute. He was a touchdown machine, even though Jones still got the majority of the carries. He also had 7 catches for 44 yards. Legarius had a 1,000-yard season, 10 rushing touchdowns, 3 yards a carry. It could be worse. Also had 29 catches for 236 yards. Danielle Hunter only allowed 4 sacks, and he played the entire season. TJ had 188 yards on the ground on 70 carries, 1 rushing touchdown. But he did have a receiving touchdown as well on 26 receptions, 111 receiving yards. Greek Woolen, 759 rushing yards, 2.6 yards a carry, 4 rushing touchdowns, 26 receptions, 149 receiving yards. DeMario, most carries on the Saints and the most yards, but he only had 1.8 yards a carry, 10 rushing touchdowns. Roquan, third leader rusher on the Ravens, even though he got 119 carries. They're not beating out Lamar and Henry. He had the third most rushing touchdowns with 5. Also had 2 receiving touchdowns on 18 catches. Tre'Davious, 887 yards. Not terrible. 3.1 yards a carry, 4 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns. Dual threat running back. Look at him. Max Crosby, though, 177 rushing yards, less than 2 yards a carry. But he led the Raiders with 9 rushing touchdowns. Elite goal line back right here. Judon allowed 17 sacks in 17 games. That's 1 sack a game. Derek Brown, 2.3 yards a carry, 4 rushing touchdowns. He leads the Panthers, at least in that category. He had a receiving touchdown as well. Jair, 7 yards shy of 900, but he only had 2.6 yards a carry. Did have 9 rushing touchdowns, 128 yards receiving as well. Hutchinson, 216 yards on the season, only 2.6 yards a carry, was second with 6 rushing touchdowns, 238 yards receiving. Sauce Gardner, I wanted 1,000, man. He only got 817 rushing yards, less than 3 yards a carry, but 9 rushing touchdowns. Another guy with a knack for getting into the end zone, 3 receiving touchdowns. Another dual threat monster. Josh Allen, less than 300 yards rushing for the Jags, but he had 9 rushing touchdowns, by far the most on Jacksonville. Also had 27 catches. Dexter Lawrence only allowed 5 sacks, second least of any starter on the G-Men. Nick Bosa allowed 9 sacks, only 1 more than Trent Williams, so he didn't do that bad. Jesse Bates was 1 yard shy of 1,000, 3 yards a carry, 5 rushing touchdowns, most on the Falcons. Also had a receiving touchdown. Big play Slay, 51 yards away from 1,000. He had 14 rushing touchdowns. And if you've seen him play in real life, you know that he has a knack for getting in the end zone, so that's not too shocking. Jalen Ramsey, though, 1,000 yards rushing. I think that's only the second guy we've seen to get there. 7 rushing touchdowns as well. Also receiving touchdown. Still only a 75, even though he had X Factor devs, so safe to say no one got to like the 80s. Parsons with 12 rushing touchdowns. I think that's the second most we've seen. Only 2.7 yards a carry, though. 17 catches as well. Jonathan Allen allowed the second least sacks of any starter on the Washington O-line. Buckner allowed the least out of any Colts offensive lineman. Chris Jones tied with Jawan Taylor, 8 sacks allowed for the Chiefs. Derwin with 1,000-yard season, 8 rushing touchdowns. Also had a receiving touchdown. Buda Baker, though, had a nasty season. 964 yards rushing, 9 touchdowns, 3.4 yards a carry. And he also had 4 receiving touchdowns, 43 receptions, 291 receiving yards. Really good season. Winfield with 1,100 yards rushing. I think that's the most. 6 rushing touchdowns. Also receiving touchdown to go along with it. Myles Garrett, 6 rushing touchdowns, second most on the Browns, with only 2.2 yards a carry. And also 20 catches. Surtain, 815 yards. I thought he would do better, man. 2.8 yards a carry, 7 rushing touchdowns, 39 catches. Milano helped the Bills get the 1 seed, but only had 1.4 yards a carry. 4 rushing touchdowns, though. Hendrickson, 1.6 yards a carry, but he did have 4 rushing touchdowns, good for second on Cincy, and 18 catches. And then Kevin Byard, 895 yards, 11 rushing touchdowns. Not easy to get double digits. We've seen starting running backs not get that. He also had 37 catches. Taking a look at some of the league leaders, Burrow, Prescott, Herbert, Mahomes in the top 5. I was shocked to see the Vikings do that well, man. Look at McCarthy cooking. Least passing yards, Daniel Jones, 17-17 ratio. Again, I think that's what he had in the last video. Burrow, most passing touchdowns, Prescott, Baker, Mahomes, and Rodgers in the top 5. A lot of good ratios this season. Tell me, man, these defensive players proving that they can play offense. Only one guy had more interceptions than touchdowns. That was Gardner Minshew. McCaffrey leads the league in rushing. Who's the highest defensive player that switched to offense in terms of rushing yards? I think it's Winfield, right? Yeah, there he is. 1,112. He had more than Montgomery, Ramondre, Lamar. Like, what? Snead was the second, and then Ramsey right behind him. Most rushing touchdowns, Pacheco, Mixon. Slay with 14, tied for the 3rd most in the league. That's nasty, man. Parsons right there as well. None of our guys had crazy receiving stats. You know, I wish even one of them switched to wide receiver, but I'm telling you, route running release, it's not easy. As for the guys that stayed on defense, Sione Taki, most tackles. 22 sacks for Rousseau. Vaughn, what the heck? They had 2 with 17 plus. That's crazy. Bills are going to be scary. Collins, D. Loss still produced. Tyree Wilson. So other guys had to step up with their teammates switching to offense. 8 INTs for Lattimore. Reed with 7, Awuzie and Thompson with 6. MVP goes to Dak. I just want to see any of our guys in top 10. Pacheco wins OPOI. DPOI Rousseau. CD wins OPOI in the NFC. DPOI goes to Thompson. Best QB Dak. Best running back McCaffrey. Buddha in the top 5 along with Slay. Byard in the top 10. Winfield in there as well. We didn't have any wide receivers. CD. Best O-lineman. Zach Martin. Come on, man. We get a best O-lineman, bro. I'm gonna go crazy. Okay, we didn't, unfortunately. Best D-lineman. Collins. Thompson. Best linebacker. And Lattimore. Best DB. Best QB in the AFC. Burrow. Best running back. Pacheco. Come on. Give me one. Legarius in the top 10 ahead of Chubb and Moss. Yo, he did pretty well. If you get higher than those guys in awards, he did pretty well. Jamar wins best wide receiver. Linderbaum, best O-lineman. Come on, give me one. Oh, he didn't get any. He did not get any. Rousseau, best D-lineman, best linebacker, Khalil. Our final 4, once again, the Cowboys, with Parsons at fullback, taking on running back Jesse Bates and the Falcons. Then we have Milano, the fullback, and the Bills, taking on the fullback Roquan and the Ravens. I'm shocked to see the Chiefs went home in round 1. Jacksonville beat them. The Cardinals beat the Niners. Ravens over the Titans. Washington over Tampa Bay. Houston lost to Cincy. And then the Vikings lost to the Falcons. ATL kept winning. They beat the Commanders. Then the Ravens beat the Bengals. Cowboys beat the Cards. And Buffalo took care of the Jaguars. So here's our final 4. So our last 4 positions still in the playoffs that used to be defensive players are 3 fullbacks and a running back. Allen still has all his wide receivers. He finds one of them. MVS for the first down. There's Milano. First time we're seeing him on the field blocking for James Cook. Let's see how he does. Okay, second level. That's not bad. James Cook decided to go elsewhere. He got 4 yards. 3rd and 6. I think he's in the game again. Yep, he's going out for a route. Allen over the middle. That's another dot there across midfield. Empty backfield. Milano at the bottom of the screen. Running a route. Allen going to Knox. What a drive. Bills get the first lead of the game. Now it's Lamar's turn. Henry in the backfield. Roquan, remember, he's the starting fullback, but Henry is still the starting running back. They're going to the screen. Nothing's there. Von Miller in on the pressure. He was 1 overall away from being on a wheel with Milano and us spinning to see who will go to offense. Man, read option. Roquan lead blocking for Lamar. Look at Roquan clearing the lane. Later on in the drive, it's 3rd and goal from the 1. We're in the 2nd quarter now. Lamar gonna hand it off to Henry. He's gonna fight, but not get the touchdown. 4th and goal from the 1. They're gonna opt to kick the field goal. Now, this could be a fake. I've seen a lot of fakes in all Madden Sim. No, okay, they're gonna trust Tucker. 7-3 game. It was cool to see both offense incorporate their players that switch sides of the football, man. 13-10 in the third quarter. Still close one. Ravens go up 2 possessions, but the Bills are right behind them. Every time they score, the Bills are right there. Nope, never mind. Baltimore ends up winning this one. Roquan was out there blocking. You know, it looked good. Both teams looked good, but clearly the Ravens did a little bit better. That run game, Henry, 10.5 yards and carry, a touchdown. Roquan, 7 for 11. He had a touchdown. Milano didn't get any carries, but he did catch a pass for 13 yards. Solid season from them. Now let's find out who Baltimore will be playing against in the Super Bowl. We have the Falcons with Bates getting the first carry of the game already. Running well, 9 yards on that one. Remember, Jesse is the starting running back at a 69 overall, but he might be higher than that. The way he's running, 6 yards of carry already. Falcons making it look easy so far. I might have jinxed him. Oh no, I jinxed him. Kirk going down. 3rd and 16 coming up. See where Kirk decides to go. Oh no, he's going down again. Back-to-back sacks for the Cowboys. They forced the punt. Now it's Dak's turn to see what he could do with Parsons at fullback. That's Zeke in the backfield, so Parsons not in the game right now. Dak going deep though. He's throwing it to a wide open CD. Just like that. They're inside the 20. Crazy start to this drive, man. Parsons at the top of the screen. Lined up against AJ Terrell at wide receiver. They're leaving him wide open, but Dak dumps it down to Ferguson. Instead, they get 7. Now Parsons no longer in the game. This time it's going to be CeeDee Lamb getting the touchdown. They didn't go to Mike at all. They didn't have to. Cowboys up 7. Falcons looked good when they ran the ball, but when you're already down, it's tough to keep on running. 14-7 late in the second quarter, though. They're keeping it close. Cowboys trying to run away with it, but they can't. They're only up 4 now. Make it 11, actually. Hold up. 1 possession game again. Here's Jesse Bates getting another carry. I'm telling you, he's running the ball really well. Getting him inside 35, 74 yards on the ground. Kirk gonna pass this one. Oh, that's risky. He had Pitts doing a wheel route at the top. I thought he would go there, but instead he throws it right to Deron Bland. Can they get a stop? A much needed one? No. The Cowboys end up scoring another touchdown, and they're going to be facing off against Baltimore in the Super Bowl. 28-13 final score. Kirk didn't have his best game. They should have kept going to Bates. 5.2 yards of carry, more than Zeke. Parsons, 2.5 yards of carry. He had 10 yards on 4 rushes. Bates also had 3 for 10 through the air. Parsons with a catch, and his team is headed to the big game. Fullback Roquan taking on fullback Micah in the last game of this sim. Lamar gonna start off with a pass on first down. He's gonna escape the pocket, get rid of it to Henry. Escaping disaster right there. But remember, he did not win MVP. As the guy on the other side, Dak Prescott, that won MVP of this season. 2nd and 10. Lamar going to throw an interception. He had Aguilar. Why are these quarterbacks trying so hard? Just take what they give you. Jordan Lewis with the pick 6. Great start for Dallas. Gonna give Baltimore another chance, see what they can do. Henry only getting a few. Plus, I want to see Roquan in the game. Okay, here he is lined up next to Lamar. Let's see if they call his number on his 2nd and 6. Oh no, Lamar gets hit as he throws at Mandrews, getting the first down. But it didn't take long for the Ravens to start finding their groove. They move all the way down into scoring range, and Lamar's gonna find Mandrews to tie this one up at 7. So here we go. Parsons in the backfield next to Dak. First time we're seeing him in the Super Bowl. Micah getting 3 yards on his first carry. However, it's already a 3rd and 7. We're in the second quarter now. Ravens send a blitz. Ferguson gonna keep the chains moving. Very next play, Dak Prescott on the run. Gonna throw this one downfield. Brandon Cooks wide open. They're inside the 20, but they end up settling for a field goal and taking a lead. So we have a 10-7 game. Baltimore does nothing with it on their next drive. So that's how we end up going into the second half. They end up taking a lead in the 3rd. Cowboys take it right back. Ravens take it back in the 4th. It all comes down to this play. 4th and 10, 4 seconds left. Cowboys need a touchdown. Micah in the backfield. He's going to stay in and block. Double teaming the left end. Dak going to throw it up. It's tipped and incomplete. The Ravens with Roquan at fullback end up winning the Super Bowl in this experiment. So there you have it. That's what would happen if I moved every team's best player on defense to their highest overall offense position, man. I want to keep doing this series. Let me know the next one. We already did quarterbacks to defense and now this one. So give me your ideas in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.